Spears and Steinberg.
You know what the fuck it is?
Aries and Andy, Jew and the Jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut cocaine. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Fuck being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Subscribe, we lit.
There's levels to this shit. Before you was sucking on your mama's tit.
Aries Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism,
Sexism,
much love to my loyal bitch bag holders.
rollers, clip loaders.
We got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I don't have a partner. Sometimes I feel like my only friend. I don't want to ever feel like I did that day. Take me to the place I love. Take me all the way. Yeah. So to anybody that thinks I don't like white people, I love you. How the fuck, when I know that song, if I did not like you hunkies? I like you hunkies.
So Red Hot Chili Peppers represents hunkies.
The whitest of hunkies.
Okay.
There's certain purity songs. Please forgive me. I know all that white shit. I fucked a lot of moose-headed bitches to them songs, man. I like white people. Don't ever think I don't like white people. I know y'all shit, man. I know thy enemy. And I don't know that Andy could belt out some Al Green or some Marvin Gaye, but I know he likes black people because he mentioned shit like Murray's and ham hocks.
Yeah, but you know that I do know Marvin Gaye.
I know you do.
Yeah, okay.
I know you do.
Yeah, that's.
By the way, I know you guys know we talked about the Woodstock 99 on about the HBO thing, and a couple of people told me to watch Trainwreck, which I did. And it's just a longer, more in-depth, detailed version of that. But the one thing I didn't know, they didn't show in the HBO version, and which made me think of it, was the Red Hot Chili Peppers were the last band to perform at Woodstock 99. And up to that point, there was a lot of hype because they led everybody to believe that there was going to be a special, special guest. So the audience, which led to the big fires and the total destruction of the festival, was the fans were pissed because rumors were it was either going to be Prince or Michael Jackson. And then when Red Hot Chili Peppers finished their set, the announcer just said, "Thank you for coming to Woodstock 99. Good night." And that sent the white people who were already juiced up into a rage. And that's when they really tore down the festival. And what kind of put kerosene on the fire was once they saw one or two pockets of fires, they asked the lead singer, or the whole band, Red Hot Chili Peppers, to come out and kind of calm the crowd. And what did they do as pure rock stars? They sang a Jimi Hendrix song about fire, which really led to it. So I'm saying all that to say this. The dude who's the main guitarist for Red Hot Chili Peppers, this nigga performed butt naked.
That's Flea. That's a bass player.
But okay, Flea. This nigga performed asshole naked the whole time. And at one point, he did some white boy shit where he removed the guitar, which was covering his dick, and he bobbed his head like a Beavis and Butthead thing, while his dick was also shaking. White folks, man, y'all, it's amazing. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was making man believe he didn't exist. Y'all motherfuckers, man, are the wildest. But y'all say niggas are the wildest. Y'all butt naked with your dick out. Chaos. I'm not going to get into it, but you motherfuckers. But anyway, I like you motherfuckers, man. I do. That being said, real quick, couple things before we jump into the Elvis shit, because that's the meat and potatoes. This is why I miss the East Coast, because you just don't have culturally the Italians and the Jamaicans on the West Coast and other parts of the country that you do here. I was coming down to Andy's room, and the Jamaican cleaning lady is in the hallway. And this is our last night here Saturday, so I only need one set of towels. So I go, "Excuse me, miss, can I have a set of towels?" "What side you come from?" I said, I'm on the other side. "Well, you got to go there. The girl with the card is over there." I said, "Okay, I just need one set of towels. You could give it to me." And that's what Jamaicans and Africans do. They suck their teeth when they get mad. So she hands me 2 sets. I only say I need 1, but she don't even give me the full set. She gives me 2 big body towels. I said, sweetie, I only need 1 set, first of all. And 2, I need 1 of each towel. What you mean? You want the long one and the short one too? I said, yeah. And then I got mad and I raised my shit. I said, yeah, the long one and the short one too. And she goes, I'm only saying this because the other girls on the other side, and if you take from me and everybody come take from me, I'm left with nothing. I said, sweetie, you're gorgeous. You're always left with something. Then she gave me my fucking towels. But I'm just like, Italians and Jamaicans, man. I really want to do a skit about a guy. Jamaicans are so hot-bloody and aggressive. There's a dude, when I go park my truck at the parking spot to take the shuttle van to the airport.
At LAX?
At LAX. Yeah. There's this one dude. He's cool as fuck with me, but he's a Jamaican driver. This nigga is so verbally violent in the morning, nigga, to these white folks. Like he goes, ladies and gentlemen, can I get your attention, please? When you come back from your flight, the pickup area is not downstairs where it used to be. It's upstairs. It's not down where the baggage claim. And now nobody says anything. We heard him, but because we don't answer, he goes, did you hear me? When I talk to you, I need you to be listening. And when I say something, I need a yes. And I mean, the white folks are going, yeah, yes. And I'm dying because and the nigga, you know, he cool with me. He knows me. We slap hands and joke. But this nigga is so abusive and testy, nigga. Like he be telling us, all right, folks, I need to know what airline you're at. Yell out your airline. And people, Southwest, United, Delta. What to say, Delta? Well, then you need to speak up. I didn't hear you. Like, nigga, calm down. Oh, my God.
I bet they just give money when they get off. Just because
out of fear.
Yeah.
Like he'll be driving, and you know how crowded the airports be when you're trying to get to the terminal. If somebody cut him off or don't move fast enough, he yells inside the bus like that person can hear him in their car. Come on, what you doing? You see me trying to get over? Man, the fucking people, they're just so stupid. Like this nigga here, man.
He picked the worst job because LAX, that's all it is.
Yeah. But he's a cool, sweet dude. But man, that Jamaican fire. All right, real quick, and then we can move on. Dude, me and Andy were in Chicago last week. And I called Andy excited. I called my boy Ivan, who's from Chicago, excited. Who lives in Jersey, but he flew out there with me to Chicago. Ivan, you've heard me mention him on the podcast. I'm walking through the fucking airport. I'm at McDonald's. I look over my right shoulder. Fucking Dennis Rodman is walking towards me. Now, again, I'm not a starstruck dude, but come on, man. Do I have to say it? 6'6", North Carolina. It's the Bulls. It's Jordan. I watched The Last Dance religiously. I'm making a homework assignment to watch The Last Dance at least once a fucking week. And this is Dennis fucking Rodman. I wanted to say something so bad, and he was really walking in my direction. But what stopped me was this little kid ran up to him, this little black boy, could have been more than 10. Rodman didn't even stop his stride to look the little boy in the face and say no. Rodman kept walking, and as the little kid tried to jump in front of him, Rodman kind of brushed him off and said, no. And I just went, God damn, if that little nigga didn't have a shot, I got no chance. So I just with my jaw on the floor, my eyes popped open, I watched Rodman walk past me, and I was like, that's Dennis fucking Rodman.
I like the story that you said that you saw someone recognized you just before that happened.
Yeah. A dude, as I was standing in line for McDonald's, a black dude, his wife and his child, dude recognized me, and I could see him out of the left side of my peripheral telling his wife, yo, that's blah, 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 blah. And then she snuck a peek. But then I didn't acknowledge that they knew me. But when I saw Rodman, I said it loud enough so they heard. I went, holy shit, Dennis Rodman's walking up towards us. And the dude looked, he said, oh my God, I saw 2 celebrities today. You and Dennis Rodman. That's crazy. And of course, I'm not giving credence to him acknowledging me, but Dennis Rodman, nigga, that nigga looks like a bug, nigga. That is one of the ugliest niggas on the planet. But again, creature. He is the creme de la creme of creatures, nigga. And listen, I think, and a lot of brothers don't admit this, some do, But when you're a really when you're a really unattractive black dude, but you're famous and rich, oh, you can get pussy with the best of them from any race. But if you're that ugly as a black guy and you're not rich and famous, black women tend not to fuck with you. But white women, dude, I'm telling you, it's something. It's that weirdness about being white, man. Yeah, white women love fucking creature niggas. They feel like they've accomplished something exotic. Patrice used to do a bit where he goes, there was a dude in DC at the Improv. His name was Motulu. And he goes, God, I bet you black people told you a new asshole. They fucked with you in school. Matulu, here come Matulu. He goes, but white people will probably looked at you and went, oh my God, your name's so majestic. White people see Rodman as a majestic creature, where black women go, that's an ugly nigga. He's an ugly mother. He's one of the most unattractive niggas on the planet, but famous, rich. And listen, he had an athlete's body. I remember when I bought his book, Bad as I Want to Be. And it was him basically butt naked holding a basketball over his cock. He got that athlete body, man. And white women, I'm telling you, dude, damn.
He would have been awesome in Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah. It was as far as
just some kind of side character.
Yeah. But his acting was so bad. That movie he did with
Jean-Claude Van Damme
and Dane Cook.
Dude.
Oof. All them bad basketball puns.
All those Academy Award winners right there in that movie.
Yeah, he was so mean to that child, man. And I just was like, damn, yo.
And you didn't even want to do the impression, just as you walked by.
He would have shunned me so fast,
yeah,
like, nigga, please.
If you would just walk by him and just did the impression, you don't think he would turn around?
No, not at all. Here's what I tried to do. I tried to make a little bit of eye contact because it might have been one of those things where, again, there are athletes and famous people that know me that I've never met. But when we see each other, they go, man, I love your work. Like I said, Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed. I walked up to him not knowing he was going to know me because I'm going, that's my childhood. And he said, man, I'm a fan of your work. I forget the brother's name, but the black dude who was on the early years of Law and Order, he had the flat top, real skinny black. I saw him at LAX one time. I was like, hey, man, I'm a fan of your work. He goes, I love your Paul Mooney. So there have been dudes who, athletes, there was a dude, when I sent out the post about AD, Anthony Davis, and Brittany Griner having dated, I said probably looked like two giraffes fucking. One of the dudes that liked my post was a nigga that played defensive tackle for the Atlanta Falcons. So there are dudes who will know me. So I was looking at Dennis going, all right, look, come on, let's catch eyes. He might go, look at the guy from Matthew B. You know, but the way he was beelining, and I could tell he didn't know me. So I was like, man, let me chill.
Yeah, and he's flying commercials, so that can't be the most easy thing for him.
Well, you know, they say that he's, I don't think broke, but, you know. And listen, a lot of niggas that are still rich fly commercial. Like I said, I saw Vince Vaughn, and this was the second time I saw a major celebrity at Chicago Airport. Vince Vaughn was the first one I saw. And, you know, he's as successful as the best of them. But he was flying commercial. A lot of people fly commercial.
They do, but if they get stopped all the time, it has to be annoying.
Of course.
So,
but you know, and that's the difference between Jordan and Dennis. I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman. Jordan got his own plane. So, but it was cool, man. I just freaked out because I was like, that's Dennis fucking Rodman.
Before we jump at this, we've got to let everybody know we are in. Where are we this week? We're in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Yeah.
But I took you.
Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah.
I saw this doc on I forgot what it was on, but I saw it about New Haven Pizza. And so I said, next time we go out here, I want to make sure I take Aries to a pizza spot. One of the three that I learned about, which was Sally's, Modern, and Pepe's.
Let me tell you something, folks. And I'm not even exaggerating. Excuse me. I've always said New York, it's the two monsters of Godzilla versus King Kong. Deep dish, Chicago, Godzilla, thin slice, King Kong, New York pizza. That's the rivalry. So I'm always a New York dude with pizza. And I thought the best pizza I ever had in my life was Mulberry's Pizza in Los Angeles in the Valley. But it's the dude who runs it is from New York. So he flies all the dough out there, the waters. And it's the creme. Oh, where Andy took me, hands down, best pizza I've ever had in my life. Sally, what's it called? Sally's?
Sally's.
In New Haven?
Mm-hmm.
Folks, if you ever come to New Haven, treat yourself to Sally's Pizza. I told one of the sons or the forefathers of the joint, the only thing missing on this pizza was pussy.
And he laughed his ass off.
That's how good it was. Let me tell you something. Everything from, we ordered an appetizer that was cured meats and cheeses. And they somehow fucked up. But once it started dawning on people who I was, I think it played to my advantage. They brought us some bread with a bean hummus, some sort of bean garlic hummus, and a marinara sauce.
It was a vodka sauce.
Vodka, a vodka marinara, which I've never had. Well, yeah, I have, in spaghetti. That was amazing. And I said, I'm going to only eat 2 of these motherfuckers because I am not getting full. I want this goddamn pizza. So then we ordered all pepperoni, half bacon, and we ordered a shrimp garlic clam pizza. First comes out the cured meats. I never felt more Italian in my life. I wanted to drown in cologne and several neck chains, nigga, and slick my hair back. The cheeses were wet and sweaty. It was, oh my God. The fucking prosciutto, right?
Prosciutto.
Salami. And listen, I've never been a peppers guy. Yellow, orange, red, green. I don't do peppers. I don't like the texture, the sliminess of it. But Andy said, and Andy don't really do peppers. And he did these peppers. He said, try this. It was a red cherry pepper marinated in whatever fucking juices that Italians bathe in. And it had the cheese in it with a piece of prosciutto. Oh my God. It was a bunch of things. It was crunchy, but at the same time soft. It wasn't slimy, but it was moist. It was sweet. It had a little kick at the end with the cheese and the prosciutto. Oh my fucking God.
I never eat those things, and I ate all of them.
If a gang of Italians stood around me and said, "There go them fucking niggas, let's get them," I'd have joined with them. It would have been fucking Bensonhurst all over again. Oh my God.
Dude, when I saw the doc and they were showing this clam pizza,
I
was like, I don't think that I would.
Oh,
I don't think that's what I want. I think I want a regular like pizza. And then we got there, and you saw it.
Oh, and before we even get to that, the pepperoni with the bacon. Oh. Now I've had pizza with bacon on it, and it's usually like what feels like bacon bits. You taste the crunchy hard part. Nah, man, it's like they took real bacon strips, not cooked too crisp, not too raw, but charred in all the right places. Just cut big slabs of them and put that on with the pizza and the pepperoni and the gravy.
You get all that bacon, that bacon grease mixes in with that.
Oh, and then comes the fucking clam and the garlic. You could smell the garlic. That's what the Italians smell, the fucking garlic. The fucking clams, the shrimps, big nice chunks of shrimp. Nigga, if I could have jacked my dick off in these seasonings, I would have, just so I could lick my fingers afterwards.
And you wanted to go back today. We really didn't have time.
Oh, man, dude. People, I'm not exaggerating. New Haven, Sally's, right? Sally's. Here's what's wild. It's a 40-minute wait just to get a table. Then another 20 minutes for your pizza. It's an hour wait, but it is worth it.
And then when they took us for a little tour, and then you see why it takes so long. The way they have to make these pizzas, the oven they're making it in. There's a process to this.
You'll wait the hour. It's like a bad 17-year-old where you'll go, I'll wait the hour. 11:59, 12. It's legal, nigga. Oh, God. It was to die for. Treat yourself, folks. I guarantee you, it's a good kick in the nuts. a good kick in the nuts. It's almost like the woman is swinging her leg towards your nuts with absolute extreme force. But right when it gets to your dick, she slows up and massages your nuts with her toes.
There's another cartoon.
Yes. Yes. It's like, pew, and it's coming 100 miles an hour. You are clenching going, my nuts is about to hurt. Tickle, 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 tickle. It's beautiful. Elvis.
Yeah. And I didn't want to buy it. That was my thing.
Let me tell you, I was gonna watch the movie for a couple reasons. One, it's creative shit, it's artist shit. I try to soak up all that as homework. So I wanted to see it for that reason. And two, I do have a legitimate respect for Elvis, even though there's something that I may play where I think, I don't know if DL sent out the post. Somebody sent it to me first. And DL sent it out, then I sent it out, where there was an actual singer, black dude. I forget what his name was, but we'll come over it. Who they say Elvis basically stole his whole style from. The voice.
He's admitted, there's things where Elvis admitted that dude was his influence.
Right, okay.
Yeah. But Elvis had that voice. That guy gave him direction on how to use the voice. He just actually matched up with it. But Elvis, some of it sounds almost exactly like Elvis.
Right. And the thing that I want to jump on, both in my first note and what I just said, was when I sent the post out. And listen, we all know that when it comes to celebrities, your favorite singer, your favorite athlete, your favorite rapper, whoever, they're your favorite because they meant something to you at a time in your life where they either influenced you, brought you out of a dark place. They just mean something to you. So much so that some of you motherfuckers will go to war for these people. Like you knew them personally. You will go to war. And, with the exception of a few black folks, most of the black folks, predominantly 95%, it felt like, were like, yeah, man, nothing new. White folks have been stealing our culture, our swagger, our music, and everything from us since forever. Ain't nothing new. Yeah, fuck Elvis. And of course, the other side, most of the white folks were, oh, here we go with the race card. Why can't people be influenced? Everybody's influenced. Why is it thievery? And I think people often, white people, miss the point that I was trying to make. It's okay to be influenced. Everybody's influenced. But the problem becomes at a time when black artists weren't given the same respect or treatment that white artists got. They weren't given the same opportunities for airplay. They weren't given the same money as far as royalties. Once upon a time ago, and Andy and I touched upon this when we talked about MTV. MTV refused to play black artists if your name wasn't Michael Jackson or Prince. The Grammys at one point didn't acknowledge hip hop and rap music as a category and refused to let rap and hip hop artists come to the show. And it wasn't until, I forget who spearheaded it, I want to say Will Smith, but there was some black rappers that finally said enough is enough. So my whole point was, great, Elvis was influenced. And the fact that, and this is what I loved about the movie, but before I get into that, again, let's not downplay what was really being said was, it's okay to be influenced, but when you hijack an entire culture in terms of style and swagger and rhythm, and you reap the benefits for that when we don't, that's the problem we have. Not Elvis per se, because as a talent, you can't deny the motherfucker was as Eddie Murphy said, Elvis was bad. He was a bad motherfucker. But our upset, where we get upset, is how the culture has been abused and taken from without us being given our proper credit and our proper due. There was a reason why Chuck D went, Elvis was a hero to most, but he never meant to me the sucker was simple and plain. Motherfuck him and John Wayne. So understand where the resentment comes from.
Yeah, what do you want me to say to that? I understand everything you just said.
Right.
So, and it makes sense because it's about the opportunity and it's about the hypocrisy. But on Elvis getting that airplay, that was the loophole because he was white. He was able to get that airplay. They didn't want Elvis. They didn't want Elvis singing that music. That was
right. Yeah, that's true too. That was the other point. The white people didn't want him singing.
No, that was the loophole because he was white. They were able to get him on white stations. But that was the loophole, and they didn't want it. They didn't want him doing that music. And most of the people that heard him at the time thought he was a black dude.
Well, I really love, because one of the things I was nervous about was, are they even going to acknowledge how much he loved black music? And when you and I went to the, I keep saying civil rights, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, you know, of course, they had the Elvis section, and they had the black and white footage, and people black, prominent, respected blues singers talking about how Elvis hung out on Beale Street in Memphis, how he hung and sang with the black bands and interacted with the black artists. And he had a profound love and respect for the culture and for that kind of music.
Well, he went to black churches. He lived in a black area. He was, for all intents and purposes, he was the white dude that was engulfed in the black culture.
Yeah, so I'm glad that they acknowledged it, and they acknowledged it heavy, because I think that that's such an interesting, integral part of the story and the history that should not be swept under the rug. Like yes, acknowledge Elvis for how bad he was, but understand where he got it from. Understand who his teachers were.
Yeah, and that's the important part too. When you said that, when people talk about being influenced, there's a lot of people that get influenced, but he wasn't influenced just by the music. He was influenced by the culture from ground up. As a kid, church, where the music came from, a big part of the music, of rock music, was born in the church.
Yes.
So that all influenced, that he wasn't, when you say influence, there are a lot of musicians that will take influences. This is someone who was a part of that, was brought up in that culture. So it's different. There's also a difference in that too, because there's a lot of people that steal shit.
Well, it's interesting because when you say that, one white dude who was very upset with me, because like, I've been to Graceland, I went to the house and da-da-da-da-da-da. And he goes, everybody's influenced by somebody. And I go, yeah, but at the same time, and this is where I could be wrong, I'm going, there are people who are such originators that unless, and I've never heard, that's not to say it doesn't exist, but I go, who did James Brown, where did James Brown get James Brown from? Where did Whitney Houston get Whitney Houston from? You know, where did Jackie Wilson get Jackie Wilson from? Again, I could be wrong, but I have yet to hear where James Brown went, I got my whole style from.
There's a difference between being influenced and being an imitator.
Okay.
And so people like James Brown, they're influenced from many different people, but they're not imitating anything. They're not trying to be part of anything. They're growing their own brand new garden.
Okay, because then in that grasp and his rhythm and the way he, I've never seen anybody do that. The way Whitney Houston sounded, I've never heard someone as angelic and powerful and beautiful as her, where I go, Whitney got that from, I've heard Christina Aguilera and go, that's a Whitney influence. Mariah Carey, that's a Whitney influence. I've seen Whitney's offspring from what she does, but I've never seen anything where I went, man, Whitney fucking stole that from even Michael Jackson, who you could see early on as a kid, his little foot move. He got that from James Brown. Some of his moves he got from Jackie Wilson. But as a powerhouse talent, you know Michael's offspring, Marcus Houston, Usher, you know, Justin Timberlake, Omarion, and Chris Brown. You know what I mean? I don't see where, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but all those then you just brought up Michael Jackson, but he got his influences then from James Brown. So then how do you not relate that to James Brown? You got to see that the influences move a culture, and people grab on and gravitate to certain things. But remember, people also do what they can do. You know, some people are able to take something to another level. We'll get into a little bit of something Elvis did that I'll bring up that I think changed some of his that made his sound unique and different than a lot of people even today.
I love the way, and not only is this movie good from a writing standpoint, a performance standpoint, I'll say even editing, how they would cut from certain scenes to moments that it all just flowed. Like, I love when they cut to Big Mama Thornton. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. And her version of it, which is powerful. It's good. And the way they showed her singing it in the setting that she sang it in the black neighborhoods and how he was like the milk spot on a chalkboard. You know, it just I just thought all of that lent itself to the importance of where it came from and our culture.
No, they did not hide that. They put that in there. But Elvis did perform in those same areas. That's also what
I love when he went to Beale Street.
Yeah.
And the black people were just as excited to see him as though he were one of their own.
But
because I think that's because he gave that homage.
And because he was from there. He is one of their own. He might have not been black, but he grew up in that neighborhood. That's still the kid that you saw at 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, he wasn't there at 1, but at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, you grew up with that kid. You want, when you grow up with people, you have a different feel for them. They are family.
And this goes to me a little bit with the racial aspect of, again, how I say black people are some of the most loving people on the planet. If you're good, we will embrace the shit out of you. Now, can the same be said for the opposite? If you're a black dude that grew up in a white racist area who does good, do you get to come back and they embrace you?
I don't know. I know that if you're ultra talented, you're embraced by the white community. I don't know to what level though, because now there's contrary to that all the time. Because I could say Michael Jordan is a billionaire and he would probably be welcomed. I would like to say he could be welcomed to anybody's home, but that's not true because we can also see where when LeBron James moved to a neighborhood, what did they do to him?
Right.
So, no, I would say no. You can't be that way. But I think in today's culture too, if someone who came up in a black culture, a white dude comes in a black culture and he's embraced by that neighborhood but goes into another area where they don't know him that way, he wouldn't be treated the same way either. And this goes to something else that I haven't talked about that I would love to talk about eventually, but I think there's nefarious efforts to keep us all divided for business reasons.
Well, you've alluded to that.
Yeah, but right now I've seen it. So I'm seeing it even more right now. I'm seeing it on the news. I'm seeing it in the way things are advertised. It's seeming really evil right now. But let's go on that. But what you just said though about black, white, there's a key moment in there. I don't know if I want to jump ahead of what you're going to say here. So let me just ask you this: are you going to get to that part where he's talking to BB King and
oh yeah,
okay.
Matter of fact, your name is in my note for that.
Okay, so let's keep going.
But no, since we're on that, let me jump right to that. I love when BB King told him they won't put you in jail. You're a famous white boy. Like if I was to go and gyrate my hips, and BB King's point was be who you are.
Yeah,
and he goes, but if I do that, my black ass is going to jail. You're white and famous, so you ain't going to jail. And even if you do, you be all right.
Yeah, you're going to get out.
So
he might not get out.
Right.
So, yeah.
But that's my point that you guys have heard me say to Andy. I know he don't believe it, and he comes up with every reason to go, nah, but, well, if I go, man, you are white. I don't give a fuck what your age, what your circumstances. This business called show business is made for you. It's your FUBU. For us, by us. We playing it, but it ain't for us. You'll be all right, yo.
Yeah, but the direction is different right now. They're looking for different kind of people. And old white men aren't the ones that they're looking for.
We've been down this road, so I'm not going to go down this road.
But that's not.
Do you see what I'm saying?
But that's not the only area that I wanted to hit on that he said. BB King, when Elvis saw Little Richard sing Tutti Frutti.
Yes.
He goes, man, the way he sang that, he goes, man, I would, because I'd like to record that song, And then he said, and then that's when BB King said to him, no, if you record it, you're going to make 1,000 times more.
And I don't think Elvis's version would be as good as
there's no one that Little Richard.
No one's fucking with Little Richard.
That Little Richard was meant to sing that song.
Right.
But my point, but what BB was saying was that's the nature of the business. And he was making sure that Elvis understood it from that moment.
But that goes back to the point about the influence. Fine, be influenced. But what we get mad at is that you benefit off of the culture the way we can't when it's our culture. Yeah, that's where we get upset,
and that's in there. That's in there. But I didn't like that they didn't. It was very subtle the way that they brought it up that way.
You thought so? Subtle?
Subtle the way that, B.B. King just says that and then it's over.
But what more does he need to say? He made the point.
I would like to know. I have questions for Elvis, and I have questions for the people.
What do you want to know, man?
I want to know why you didn't have more black people featured in your band. If these are the people you know.
Too many dark is when the light hits the stage, it sucks up the light, takes it off me.
But no, I really wanted to. Yeah, but that is a question for who he was, and if he has that influence.
Well, he had the backup singers.
Yeah, but why didn't he have more? He did have the backup singers. Why didn't he have more black people on tour with him? Why didn't he? Why? But I also understand, and when you see this movie, we'll get more into this. But Elvis wasn't running his business,
right? I have to jump off the path for a second. It's within the same vein of the conversation, but I can jump off the path for a second. I told Andy, I don't know if he ever saw this clip. I was perusing through Instagram, and I saw a clip and I thought I'd seen everything about Bill Burr. I saw a clip of Bill Burr at Showtime at the Apollo. And I mean, his hair, prior to this clip, he had even made fun of himself as being this howdy doody looking kind of white guy with red hair. It was even more howdy doody-ish. I mean, it was curly. The way it looked almost like Titanic gay. I mean, it was stylized, nigga. But he comes on stage and he does his set and he's never done this, but he doesn't pander to the black audience by acting black, talking black. Matter of fact, his material was about how he couldn't stand white boys that act black. And what was brilliant about it, listen, the Apollo, if you don't know nothing about the Apollo, if I'm talking to some people that are in their 20s, maybe even 30s, this will go over your head. But anybody, 40 and over, Showtime at the Apollo would rip your ass. You got 2 seconds, motherfucker. If you don't bring it, boo, the Sandman, everything. This white boy got on stage and didn't pander, told his jokes, and what I love that he did, he gave black people the respect to go, I don't have to pander to you. This material is smart enough where I know you'll get it and you'll laugh and respect me based on my truth about being white. And when he talked about, white boys in Iowa, yo, what up, son? Yo, something about the cornfields representing, the scarecrows. And he said something about, dude, what are you running away from? You look at the advantages you have. You're white. You can do this. You don't have to worry about that. What are you running away from? Talking about keeping it real, son. And the audience loved him. And again, he didn't have to pander. He didn't have to do the crutch shit. He went, I'm going to give these niggas the respect that I know they deserve because I know they're intelligent enough to understand it. And it was brilliant. So back to Elvis, but...
last night's show, the first show, I didn't pander at all. The second show, I wish I would have pandered. The second show, I wish I would have. First show, awesome. Incredible. Great show. Second show, same material. Where did everybody go?
Yeah, that was the hard Negroes. Dude, I want to go back to where, dude, I even love the very beginning when you first see Elvis and he's got on, I guess, the pink suit. And of course, he comes on stage and the one white guy in the audience yells, "Get a haircut." And once he started, and this is, once he started and does the gyrating and the hips and the legs, and I mean, as an artist who likes to kill, that was such a dick hard moment because it was like dude yelling, "Get a haircut." Now watch this. I'm going to have every bitch in here losing their shit. Every dude wants to be me because they see what I can do to the women. Your women that are with you. And I fucking loved it. But again, it reminds me of what Ray Charles said. I'm not impressed. White boy shaking his hips, gyrating, doing that. We've been doing that. We invented that. That's our swagger. I'm not impressed. So, it's, listen, if I wasn't black, then I probably wouldn't give any acknowledgement to that. But knowing the history, knowing who Ray Charles is, and being black and knowing my people, and that's my people, I go, yeah, it's bittersweet.
But to be really honest, Ray Charles couldn't see what he did.
That's funny. He could hear it.
He could hear it, but he didn't really see it.
Right.
Maybe he would have saw it. He would have went, this white boy is a little bit bad, man.
Right. I even love when they refer to Elvis as I had a white boy with colored hips. What do you make of that? I thought that was genius. That's the first time I ever heard something like that.
I just thought it was funny because I never saw it ever referenced before. I heard it, but I like when he said like he almost seemed frustrated with being Elvis the pelvis because that was the other thing.
Right, Elvis the pelvis.
And he was like making fun of it. I'm Elvis the pelvis.
Right.
I'm singing here. I'm doing some other stuff.
Dude, sex and anything sexual. And that's why I go again, and we talked about this when we left Sally's Pizza yesterday, and I've said this before, I was watching Glory at the hotel here when I checked in, and I just went, there was the one part where it said, Massachusetts, 1863. I just went, ugh, what a horrible time to be alive and be black. And even if you weren't black, okay, white. 1863 versus what we have now in 2022. That's gotta suck. But then I go, there's going to be some time, you won't be here for it, but there's going to be somebody in the year 3040 that's going to go, 2022, ugh, this is where you want to be alive. Then he'll open up his window 180 stories above the ground and fly out. Just fly out without any equipment, however they make that happen. So again, the time that you're in, but I'm just going, of course people were fucking back then, but it just seemed like it was so forbidden. That's why women went crazy when he moved his hips. Now you look at that and go, that's every day for a performer.
But back then, it was Pat Boone sitting in a chair, standing very still, and white folks,
right,
that they didn't have they didn't show any sexuality at all.
It even sounded stale when Hank Williams said it. I wrote it down. He was upset because Elvis women were throwing their panties on stage, and he said a pair of ladies' intimates.
Yes, and
what a square way to say panties.
It's not Hank Williams though. What was?
Yeah, it was Hank Williams.
It was.
Remember, he was on the road.
Yeah,
and Hank Williams was headlining, and Elvis was featuring. But the more and more popular Elvis got, he was overshadowing Hank, and they were saying people were after Elvis's set, people were walking out.
Right.
And eventually they had the snake of an asshole that promoter that became Elvis's manager eventually went, yeah, Hank, you got to go. Elvis is the show.
Yeah.
A pair of ladies' intimates.
And it was but when they showed it, there was like 25 of them coming at him at one time. I thought that was a bit much.
No, I wouldn't even think you were going there. I thought you were going to say when they showed the drawers, nigga, they was big as cardboard that niggas used to break dance on.
Yeah, but there's
no sexiness at all.
No, but
now bitches wear fucking G-strings and fucking, what do you call them? What's the other ones? G-strings and whatever you call them, thongs and lace and see-through and Victoria's Secret. Something to titillate your dick. What got you hard when you, in the 1950s, when your woman pulled her dress off and she had a fucking whole towel as a panties?
Those are, I'm not going to say what they are.
Bloomers?
Yeah, Bloomers would have been a good one. It's Hank Snow, not Hank Williams. He was Hank Snow.
Hank Williams was the country singer.
Hank Williams was the country singer.
Okay, Hank Snow.
Hank Snow is the one that the Colonel had on his circus.
Right.
Because now Elvis is soon to be manager in our conversation.
Yes.
Used to do the circus.
Right.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that he was managed a traveling circus, but that makes sense now.
And in the movie, his mom goes, and big kudos to his mother. And this is where I relate and was, his mother was extremely supportive of him.
And his moves.
But she even said, the way you sang and move, it's God-given. Now I put in my notes, no, it's nigga-given.
Okay. But again, they were in a black.
And God is a nigga. So,
but they were in a black neighborhood. And she was going to black. They were going to a black church. So this was normal. This is why it was so abnormal for white folks, because she was seeing something different than
right.
Yeah. Okay.
Dude, when he sang one of my favorite moments, there was like a couple, 3 or 4 moments that was just my favorite. When he sang the song Trouble in the baseball field.
Yeah.
And they had basically, the police warned the colonel, the moment he gyrates one hip, he's under arrest.
He's going to be fine if he doesn't move one little finger.
Right. And again, it's folks, sorry. Broken record time. You've heard me say this, but this is my passion. I'm so adamant about be who the fuck you are and the defiance of fucking authority. Not if it's going to put you in jail, but well, even if it might put you in jail. Let me not say that. You know, the protesters throughout the 60s were in jail and it had to be. There's actually a saying for that about protesting being a good thing, but I don't know it.
It's about getting in good trouble.
Good trouble. But just creatively, almost 99.9% of the time, and you've heard us say it about Kenny G, we're saying it about Elvis, we've given you examples where the people who don't know creative are in charge of creative. And they're always, almost always wrong. Mind your motherfucking... And I love that Elvis, he even said something before he sang the song. They told me I was going to get in trouble if I did. And then he went into it. The girl screamed. He got arrested. I loved it. And then they tried to... I remember, I even saw that. There's a great clip of him singing side by side with Frank Sinatra. And Elvis has on the tuxedo with the tails, which he hated. And Frank's in a tux. And it's a great moment creatively because they're duetting. And Frank will sing something. And this is a young Frank when he was Frank. And Elvis would follow up. And it was just two golden voices that was beautiful to watch. But they so wanted to put him in this box. And they called it the new Elvis. No more hip gyrating. No sexual innuendos. Play it straight. And he refused. He fucking refused. And I loved him for it.
But again, that came from talking to B.B. King.
Right.
Where he went back when he would go back to Beale Street to get to reconnect with where he came from.
Right. Dude, you could, and it's like, you could so, I wonder if I want to go there yet. You know what? Let's talk about, let's talk about the Colonel.
Yeah, because we're missing a part because the Colonel's important already.
Okay, we're the Colonel. I remember Andy said, the mark of a great actor is if he can make you hate him. And for the first time, and I remember when I watched this on the plane, I went, yep, Andy's right. He's a great actor. I always thought Tom Hanks was a great actor anyway. But I went, I officially hate the most likable man in film. This character that he played, he wasn't a character, he's the real, Elvis's manager, the Colonel, was such, by the time this movie was over, Tom Hanks as that character became punchable to me.
Yeah.
What a piece of fucking douchebag shit.
Well, the movie's really told through the Colonel's perspective and given information about Elvis, which I thought was interesting because the Colonel really ran Elvis's career and
to the ground.
Yeah. And when you watch this, you see why it answers some questions that I still had about Elvis. But you're introduced to the Colonel, and I wasn't, like when I said the traveling circus managing that, he was always a shyster. He was a scammer. And right. I didn't realize that either. I
didn't know that either.
I didn't know. But it's been said, I just didn't know to the extent and the way that they tell the story, it becomes like full-fledged. You see it all. And he was an undocumented person.
Couldn't leave the country.
Because they had no record of him. He tried to join the army, I guess, to get some, but they kicked him out for being, they said he would displayed psychopathic tendencies or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then he came from Germany. He was a German immigrant, and he said he was from Montana, and he has this weird accent. So, not Germany. He came from. They said Denmark or Holland or something. But
didn't you say there were people that complained about the accent?
Yeah, people really hate it. Yeah, but I think it adds to it because you really hate him even more by the time you get done with this thing.
Right.
And I think Tom Hanks. For Tom Hanks, probably the smartest thing he could ever done because I can look at all the other work that Tom Hanks does and I don't see that character.
And again, not just the mark of a great actor making you hate him, gets so lost in the character, he becomes him. Mm-hmm. And you go, that ain't, I totally didn't see Tom Hanks anymore.
No, you're right.
Especially once he became unlikable. I just went, this motherfucker. Let me ask you this. Because they said this motherfucker took half
50%
of Elvis's earnings. Now, I remember Stephen A. Smith was talking about this. He goes, "What people and a lot of these athletes, these young brothers, because they don't come from money, they're not financially literate. They don't take into account you just signed a $20 million deal. Already half is taxes, so it's 10. Then you got your agent and your manager. It's 10% apiece."
Yeah, but wait, you said it backwards.
What?
This is something that a lot of people miss, and their percentage comes out before the taxes.
Oh, okay.
So if it's 20 million, they're getting
Right.
their 10% on 20 million.
Right.
You're paying the taxes.
Right. So by the time it's all said and done, you're not getting what you're getting. Now, imagine 50, 10, 10, that's 70%. And I'm just going, and you tell me, nobody in Elvis's camp, mother, father, and I think I already know the answer to this. I'm pretty sure I do, but I just wanted to see what you're going to say. Nobody went, yo, 50% is crazy. And I got to go, well, look where they came from. Came from poverty. They don't know no better. And I can't help but say it, the South. Where in terms of, I'm joking, let me not do that, because there's, poverty is poverty no matter where you go, which comes with a lack of education and a lack of know-how. So let me not do that. I'm just being my Aries asshole funny self. But just coming from where he came from, not the South, but poverty and lack of education, I would think somebody would go, hey, man, 50% is astronomical. And you're not taking into account taxes.
Well, but you also saw, like, his family doesn't know better. He was in jail for passing, Burr, his dad was in jail for passing a $14 check that didn't clear.
Right.
So we're not talking about people who have an idea how to manage money. Yes, there were people that came to him you're going to see, as we talk about this more, there are people that came to him and wanted to change his trajectory and what he was doing.
Right.
But he had such a hook into him because they could afford more. You go from having nothing to having a lot.
Right.
You're not thinking about what's on the table.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about what you're leaving behind.
You think that's just going to last forever.
Well, and it's always more than what you had. So you just think this is the right way to do it. I don't think that would ever happen now because everybody has so much more information. But we're also talking about a time where he's not coming from LA where it's a Hollywood market and you know what this person's getting, that person's getting. We're talking about someone's coming from Memphis, Tennessee.
Right.
But I just can't believe that nobody else's manager kind of grabbed Elvis and go,
I would think somebody.
But he was his manager the whole career. Tom Parker is his manager from...
And even when he wanted to adamantly get away,
he couldn't.
That's insane.
But all he has to do when Tom Parker, I'm jumping to the end. I'll leave it for the end because it's going to be. We'll get to that. Okay. But it's going to be in the same thing about talking about management and money.
Before we jump to what I'm excited about, let me just make sure. I will say this. I think one of the worst things that hurt Elvis was losing Priscilla, because when she said to him, he goes, "You upset about the women? I don't give a shit." She basically said, "I don't give a shit about the girls. You think I don't know about the women you have coming in the side door? It's this shit." And she alluded to the pills, all the pills you're taking and the shots and the doctor. And there was the moment where Elvis passed out on the way to being on stage. And his father came and he said, and he basically, the way Tom Hanks, in the most scumbaggiest way, which is why you hated him, put him in this position where he goes to the father, "Hey, you're the head of the Elvis Enterprises. Don't you think we should get him on stage?" When he clearly should have been hospitalized, given a chance to rest. He goes, all this money you're about to blow. So, of course, they have the camera on the dad and it's zooming in. This is the conundrum. And the father finally goes, "Bring in the doctor," which means now Elvis has got to take another needle to juice him up and to help him get. That's where you go. And I wish there was that moment where, and obviously there wasn't because she left him. Priscilla left him because of all this. But that's when you need a wife to jump in and say, "Get the fuck away from my husband. Take the doctor's medical bag, throw it down the hall, throw it at him. You're killing my husband." Everybody else is in it for the money. So yeah, they want him to get on stage. But the wife, if she really loves you the way a wife should, is your last and first line of defense.
Well, and what's interesting about this again is because it's told from mainly the perspective of the Colonel. We don't get those details about like her love. You just see her say that about the pills, but we don't get their relationship 100%.
They could have dove into that a little bit more.
But I think it's because it's coming kind of like, as the Colonel said, because he talked about her, and then the thing I couldn't predict was love.
Right.
And listen, they did not touch on the fact that she was 15 when he met her in Germany.
R. Kelly is somewhere punching his cell wall.
He, from all the stuff that I've read, the father was always there. They were never really left alone by themselves. There was always other people there. And until she came back to the States and she was older, they didn't enter into a relationship like that. He liked her, but it never got into that relationship. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's good PR to try to keep shit hidden, but that was what it was. That's what it was.
So that being said, here's my question. We know what killed Elvis.
Yeah.
But what killed Elvis? Was it the drugs, or was it I think I'm about to fuck this up. I worded it better yesterday when I thought about it. Was it the drugs, or was it the performing, or was it the Colonel? What killed him? Was it the drugs, or was it the Colonel?
I think it was sadness, but I think he was taking the drugs. He was performing, and then there was nothing there to fill the loss of his mom.
Well, I got the sadness,
Priscilla.
and I'm not don't want to downplay how stress and sadness can lead to death, because I saw where there's actually a term for that, a medical term for a broken heart. There's a technical term for what it's called. But I'm just saying, but if you're being shot up and you're taking all these pills, that's what killed him. But he did it because of the Colonel.
The Colonel put him over. The Colonel, if he actually had any feeling for Elvis, would have said, "Okay, we got to get you some help." But everything the Colonel did was only for himself,
right?
Because everything from going into the military, which you're going to see if you go to this movie, they really show where and it's always been talked about. And I read things about it, but the Colonel was worried about Elvis because he got in trouble with the shaking the hips thing.
Right.
And he was worried about how that was going to affect the career.
And he wanted him to go to the war so he could come back as an all-American clean boy.
Get his hair cut.
Right.
And then he would be perceived differently than he was. And that would benefit, again, the Colonel. And that would put Elvis under wraps for a couple of years because he had to go to the military.
Right.
And so, and he said he would stay there and take care of everything, get him a movie career when he came back. The Colonel's always working for the Colonel.
So, again, the Colonel killed him.
Yeah, I think the Colonel killed is the.
I think that when that is the case, you should be brought up on charges.
Well, yeah, the doctor definitely that was administering all these drugs. I think he did get in some trouble eventually.
Really?
Yeah, but not like what he should have gotten.
Isn't that crazy? And that scary similarity that two of the greatest, biggest music pioneers / icons ever, Elvis and Michael Jackson, both killed unnecessarily by doctors.
And doctors and drugs, yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And what are both of them looking to do, though, that they're taking these drugs? Sleep, be able to turn it off, be able to get away, be able to have a moment without clarity, without all this stuff going on in their lives.
Not that I ever want to be in that position, because if those are the results, that's a horrible position. So maybe I'm speaking out of ignorance because I don't know. But I would think it would be as simple as just stop.
It's hard.
You're the boss. You're the star.
But you...
Stop. Walk away.
I'm going to be honest for Elvis. He's a simpleton, though. He has he has a talent, and he's letting someone else manage his talent.
But at the end of the day, you're the boss.
Yeah.
You know, I love that line in Devil's Advocate when Al Pacino says to Keanu, who you carrying all those bricks for? Guilt is like a bag of bricks. Just set it down. Just set it down. It's heavy. It's stressing you. Just set it down. And I would think it's as simple as just doing it.
Yeah. And the other one, too, for Elvis, when you're taking the pills he's taking, you're getting constipated. You can't. Oof. That's how he dies. Taking, you're on the toilet trying to push, and he dies on the toilet because of these drugs. I mean, he was already weak, and the drugs were. Not that Michael Jackson's situation is any better, but at least he was taking propofol. Which if you've ever taken propofol, by the way, people, it is like the most amazing thing in the world. It's like something that I think every year, if there was a legal way for a doctor to administrate propofol for you so that you can get rest and turn off your brain, it would be the most amazing thing that I think people could do. It turns off your brain. You wake up so relaxed.
Good pussy do that to you.
Not like this, man.
Oh, I beg to differ. I done had some snatch nigga that put me in a coma while I was in it. And then when I woke up, nigga, I felt like a brand new baby, nigga.
Okay, maybe that's it. Maybe that is.
I'm telling you, I know I keep saying it, y'all, but do not, fellas, underestimate the power of a good piece of gooch, nigga. Ooh. Okay, here was my favorite fucking moment. When Elvis was going through this thing where he's on the Hollywood sign and he wants to turn his image around after the movies. And they wanted him to do the NBC Christmas special.
Yeah.
And they wanted him in a corny Christmas sweater. And these two dudes who recruited him basically say, man, you got to get back to your roots. You got to get back to the beginning. Cut to, and I knew it before they cut to it. I went, black leather special. And this is what I want to make sure I say this right. And this is coming from a 100% heterosexual male. Ain't a goddamn gay fiber in me, nigga. But I'm also secure enough in my manhood because I get a lot of pussy. Paid for and unpaid for. That black leather special was the exact moment Elvis was a fucking rock star and a sexual icon. He had them women's souls. When you see that nigga in that all tight black leather, the perfect amount of black sideburns, hair slicked back, and he started, born to and you see them women's, I mean, he had their fucking souls. And I went, this is where you see Eddie Murphy's influence by Elvis. Because, Eddie said in the beginning of the clip when we played, Elvis was a bad motherfucker when Elvis was bad. And Eddie Murphy religiously talked about how he adored and idolized Elvis. Hence, where the fuck you think he got the idea for an all red leather suit? The first half of Eddie's comic career, red leather Eddie, that was Elvis black leather. The second half of Eddie's stand-up career, purple and black leather, was Prince. Eddie was Elvis in the first half, Prince in the second. But it's all the same dude. That influence. Yo, Elvis was in a zone in that special.
Have you ever seen the special, though?
No, I've seen that clip.
Okay, the special, and they don't show this because they use the actor almost 99.9%. They use the actor for this, and every once in a while, I saw a couple parts where they hit an Elvis clip. The thing about Elvis, though, like you just said, that bravado, that male, that macho, that
Burt Bridgewater, nigga,
and those women. But then when he would stop and talk to them, and he would put his head down a little bit, and he was speaking, and he'd speak in that tone.
Right.
But it seemed like he was an innocent country boy at the same time. This guy who could just fucking light it up and then be the nicest guy. It was the blend of what I think women would say that's perfect.
Tall, dark, and handsome. Let me tell you something, man. Again, and let's be honest, and listen, I know there's probably some the hardcore niggas, to go, man, that's gay shit. Again, I'm secure in my manhood. I get a lot of pussy. But it's not gay to recognize what's obvious. Denzel Washington in his prime, Mo Better Blues, is a very handsome motherfucker. In his prime, LL, Boris, Kojo, there's handsome guys. You just go, hey, handsome motherfucker.
LL's still killing it for the 50+ guys.
But that neck thick now.
I know, but really, still, but for 50 years old.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Sometimes I got to lube up my neck with olive oils and, Italian juices. The shit that the cherries and the peppers marinate in so I could put my chains on. as a dude, you go, I'm envious. Because that's every man's fantasy, is to be able to woo women and have them swoon over you and go crazy and throw their intimates at you. That's every man's macho, I get all the bitches.
But it's also that the one thing that you're good at brings all the women to the table.
Oh,
The one thing that you're good at. He's only good at one thing. He's terrible about managing everything else in his life. He has one thing that he's good at.
man. And I'm going, do you see what that look, that persona, fucking influence? What do you think? That's the Fonz. Hey,
yeah.
Leather jacket, slick hair. That's fucking whatever my man John Travolta's character was in Grease.
Yeah.
That's all Elvis. That's Dice Clay. It all derives from Elvis.
Well, or even John Travolta in Saturday Night Live. That's like a junior. I'm aspiring, but I don't have the outfit or the money to be Elvis.
Right.
Elvis goes back a long way. And
Yeah, man.
Like.
As far as cultural influence and you know, from Eddie Murphy to Dice to Fonzie to, you know, Travolta. Yeah, that was serious business. And then what I loved about it too, and as again, in the defiance of authority, how the Colonel was getting upset because Elvis wasn't doing the Christmassy shit. And the executives who came to watch were upset.
Because they sold it as a Christmas special.
They sold it as a Christmas special. And then there was the moment where Bobby Kennedy was killed. And the one of the guys who was trying to turn Elvis's image around was like, yo, at a moment like this, you need to say something. Your voice. And that's when the Colonel from behind the curtain popped in upset. Elvis does not make speeches. He does not talk about political. He sings and he dances. That's it, you monkey. He might as well have said that at the end of it. He sings and he dances like the monkey he is. Click. And Elvis got mad at him and said, no, I should say something. And he said, there's a saying, when something is too hard to say or something like that, sing it.
It was the pastor that said it to him?
Yes, a pastor that said something to him. When something becomes too hard to say, sing it. And this is, again, where you recognize or have to recognize, yo, Elvis was brilliant, man. Because, yeah, he's doing the Black Leather special, you know, sexy rocker guy, rock and roll women. But then when he addresses the social moment and he's got on the white suit and he's singing, there's one part in that where he grabs the mic with both hands and he rocks and he belts out this song from the sternum, nigga. And I went, yo, you can't deny it. Now, again, if you want to be one of the black people that are mad about the influence, that's on you. But you gotta recognize this motherfucker was dope. Talent-wise, this motherfucker was dope. Because one could say the whole rock star leather jacket, sexy symbol, sexy is a shtick, which it isn't. But you could say some might go, it's a shtick. The real talent is, can you put down the shtick and deliver on soul, on principle, on gut, on shit that ain't, you know, the crutch. And he delivered, goddammit. Yeah. I love that moment. And then, of course, the victory for Elvis was that Tom Hanks had to admit the special killed.
Yeah.
It brought him back.
You were right.
You were right. That shit I wanted you to do with the corny Christmas sweaters, I was wrong. So.
And then that leads to where Elvis is finally going to get away from this dude because he finally has everything.
So you think?
Yeah. People have finally shown him enough to see what's wrong with the Colonel, and he calls him out.
Right. Then, you know, of course, we eventually bleed into going to be Fat Elvis, as he had that 5-year residency at the International, or the Continental, whatever it's called.
And that's just because that's what he put. He put that together to get Elvis to stay because he didn't want him to go on an international tour because security, and he manufactured death threats. Apparently, this is what they showed, so that Elvis would be paranoid, and Elvis was paranoid. There's
well with the drugs too, of course,
the drugs, right. And then him not traveling. Didn't want him to go because Tom Parker couldn't follow Elvis on the road because he doesn't have a passport. So he doesn't go. So when he tries to break away, he tries to bill Elvis for $8 million, which if they had any kind of financial savvy at all they have to do is go to a lawyer and go, can they hold me to this?
Right.
And they just, Elvis is like, I can't pay this.
It's hard to think to be that big of a star with the movies and the concerts and even the thing where Tom's character said, because Elvis couldn't travel, I brought the world to him. And he did the first satellite, big pay-per-view kind of event where people from all over the world were able to watch Elvis in Vegas. And I'm just going, with all of that, how are you broke, nigga? That's crazy.
You not even have $8 million, but even not even have the savvy to go to a lawyer and go, man, I don't have to pay for this. This was part of his side because this is his business. Right. It was just sad to think that someone has, if he just had somebody. His dad wasn't the guy, and his dad, they didn't talk about this, but his dad had other issues too. His dad had problems. His dad was also drank. His dad had many issues. So wasn't the right person to be running this, but that's why Tom Parker put his dad in that position, because that was the perfect person to have, because it was someone he could manipulate as well with Elvis.
When they showed, and I keep saying Tom Hanks, but his character's name was Tom Parker?
Yeah, Colonel Tom Parker.
Colonel Tom Parker. When Elvis was doing the big concert in the hotel, and he said he wrote down the amount that Elvis needs to be paid. He said, that's what you're going to pay him, which was $5 million. Now what are you going to pay me? And then that's when they said, if you can get your boy to perform here for what was originally supposed to be just 6 months. Elvis was the first year. Elvis was going to do 6 months, and then the rest of the time, jump on his plane and travel the world and perform overseas. But he said, if you can get your boy to commit to 5 years, all your debts will be settled.
And then we'll give you a bonus.
Right, and we'll give you a bonus. And that's, of course, why Tom Parker wanted to lock Elvis in for the 5 years. And I just, yeah, I just, again, that moment just showed what a crook he was. And then once Elvis started to figure it out, and then that great moment where the curtains, like the promoter knows Elvis's whole show because he's been doing it for years and years and years. So he's sitting there with the CEO / owner of the hotel and 2 women, and he's calling out what Elvis is going to do before he does it. And now he's going to have the lights come up and do this. And now he's going to put the spotlight on us and thank me. And then Elvis broke from that to go, I know you're a crook. You're keeping me caged here. I thought that was a great dramatic moment when he was exposing him. Yeah. And even still couldn't get away from him.
Yeah, never could. Never did.
Here's what was ballsy. Elvis, and I thought this was for movie purposes, dramatization. But then at the end, which is what I love about the movie, towards the very end, they actually splice in actual footage from Elvis's concerts to show you that those moments you saw in the movie really happened in real life. That thing where Elvis would, at the end of the show, just kiss bitches. Like he just would go through the fucking showroom and on the lips, 10, 15 women at a time with his wife there. I went, you ballsy motherfucker. If that ain't the pippiest shit ever.
Dude, kissing would have to be the least important. They're throwing underwear. They're throwing keys up there. So a kiss is the nicest thing he could probably give them and walk away. That's the nicest thing he could do for his wife.
You got to be a strong broad. And listen, some of that you got to, I guess, to keep the marriage from falling apart. And if you're communicating properly, she's got to know it's the show. It's Elvis. So, sleeping with these broads is a whole nother thing. And I'd actually love to know from the women that listen to this podcast, if you had a husband of that magnitude, star power, fame, sex appeal, desirable, talent, as long as he's not sleeping with him, are you okay with that being part of the show? Every night when he's done, 15 bitches all lined up, being kissed on the mouth.
And then, they're saying, giving him keys,
Yeah, but
that's as far as it's going to go. You're saying, are you okay with that?
As long as you could even be assured that at the end of every show, it's you and him.
Yeah, he's
that goes up to that fucking top penthouse suite in the hotel. You sleep with him every night. You're around him like his shadow. He ain't fucking none of these bitches. But that's part of it. Could you handle that? I'd love for the ladies to let me know that.
No, and to think because women always have that over us. They're always desired by multiple people. Even no matter if you're a good-looking dude, if you have, but women can walk down
and get 15 strangers to kiss her
and look at her and go.
Niggas got to be famous to get that.
So that's a big twist in a relationship.
Right. That's a sad moment for me, man, which, is where I really felt bad for Elvis, was when his dad came to the room and and it's dark. He's in the room by himself. He really wants to get out of it when his father presents him with the $8 billion bill. Yeah. And when his father realized, when Elvis realizes he can't get out of it, as his dad is leaving, Elvis sits in front of the TV, turns the TV on. He has a zombie glaze over his face, and he tells his dad, "Send a doctor up."
Yeah, that's when you know it's all over. It's over.
Man, dude.
He gave up. Life is over.
Send the doctor up. I'll juice me up so I can go out there and do this shit. And that's when my heart sank. And I went, damn. And between, again, as a collective, everything that Tom Parker Hanks is doing in the movie that led up to that, and then that moment, I went, yeah, man, Tom's good, because I hate this motherfucker.
Yeah. But that also goes back to what you say, why you got to be you, because if he listened to B.B. King at the beginning where he did what he did, and then continued to listen to himself and not Tom Parker, he's not in this situation. This all happened because he wasn't being true to himself. He was doing what someone else said was good for the business.
Right. Even that moment, and sometimes in these movies, you can feel what they intend for you to feel. Even that moment where he's at the airport strip and he's about to get on a plane and go wherever he's about to go. But before he does, he sees, I think, what was Lisa Marie, his daughter, and Priscilla for the last time in the car. And she reaches over and grabs his hand, and he gets out the car and he turns to her and he mouths the words, "I love you." I thought she was going to mouth it back, but I don't think she did. But you could see the look. There was an exchange. And it was that moment, the way they kept the camera on him, where you just went, even that, he knew this was it.
Yeah.
It's the reality of what it is. The story, but it's sad, man.
He had a girlfriend at the end too. They don't. This is really, Yeah, this is really Tom Parker. This is really the story told through what Tom Parker did to Elvis. Is really what the story is,
right?
And how not being how someone was able to take advantage of someone else. This is really the story. But you get Elvis's life story through this,
right?
But. And to me, maybe it answers some of the questions that I have of why you didn't do things differently, why you didn't do a lot of things differently. But like I said, with Elvis and going back to the culture, where does Elvis die at? He dies in Memphis, Tennessee. He dies back at his home. He didn't ever leave his neighborhood. That's what I'm saying. He was in Hollywood. He was in movies. He was living out there at one point. But his home, where he rested, where his peacefulness was always still back in that neighborhood.
Right. So, I didn't know he was 42.
He was so young. He died. I remember this because when he died, I was in Texas. I went to go see my uncle for a summer. It was over the summertime. I was in this little town called Tatum, Texas. And then we went to Louisiana. But he died, I think, on the drive from Tatum, Texas to Louisiana, where we're going in Louisiana. I don't even remember where we were going, but we were driving over there. And on the radio, it came, breaking news. And that was still when you just, there was three channels and then your radio.
Right.
So it was breaking news. Elvis dies at 42. And we were like, what? Because I think
he died in 1977.
Yep.
I was 2 years old.
Yeah. I was 11.
Wow. So you really remember it.
Yeah, I remember everything. And the reason Elvis there's a person, my connection with Elvis is my mom. My mom was a huge Elvis fan. And she got to see Elvis, I think in 76, a year before he died.
Right.
That was the only time she got to see Elvis. She saw a lot of other people. People used to go through Tucson where she grew up in Tucson. She met Chuck Berry. She met Fats Domino. She met a lot of people that came through. They used to play at the roller rink.
Right.
And but Elvis was her, like, that was her thing. And so that's why I kind of know about this dude.
When they showed, of course, the final scene in the movie where he's got on the blue outfit and the guy's holding the mic for him to sing as he's playing piano. And then they cut from the actor to the actual footage. And just seeing, again, the actual footage, all the things he did when he get on one knee and hold the cape open. Yeah, man, I got a whole new respect for the dude, man.
Let me ask you about the cape, because the cape, something interesting came to me about the cape. Do you think the cape was for his love of he loved superheroes, and he loved Shazam? Is the cape part of that?
Yes, but I always thought it was comically funny when he would do the karate moves.
Oh, yeah.
It did just bad karate. He did Dolomite karate.
Yeah, but that's also Mark Wahlberg when he's in Boogie Nights.
Yes.
That's that.
See the influence. Yeah.
So, but that to me, that's the first time I even thought about putting the cape and Shazam together. But to me, he just looks like one of those lizards in Arizona that when
with the neck.
When they get scared, they want to try to scare someone. Because you just pop it open like that.
Right.
That reminds me of those lizards. But who else could wear a jumpsuit like that with rhinestones? And
I don't think anybody could now.
No,
I don't think back then, yeah.
But what I was going to say, because towards his end when he was at the residency, and this is what I was going to say about his music, to put together that kind of orchestra behind him.
Yeah.
That was interesting from someone who isn't like, he's musically inclined, obviously.
Right.
He played the guitar.
Right.
He wasn't like this big band leader, but he figured out this sound.
I love that moment when he first goes there and he goes, the stage is so big. And then when he has the band, how he's piecing together, give me the horns here, and he went to the singing and bring it up here. And it was like that great moment in Get On Up with Chadwick Boseman as James Brown. And he said, what are these? Horns. No, it ain't. What are these? And I forget what he said.
Drums.
Drums. Right, drums. And the hit on the way that scene where he's putting that music together, I love that. And again, anything creative where you just go, that's how the puzzle gets pieced together.
But we can see it because we've already heard it.
Right.
So when the puzzle's being put together, it's being put together in reverse.
Right.
So we see it, but no one saw it. That's the thing that you got to remember when you're seeing these.
Right.
No one could see it.
Right.
No one even standing next to him who's played with him could see what he was doing. That's what you got. That's what you got to forget, is that we already know.
Right.
And you got to get to the place where that's absent in your mind, and you go, this motherfucker right here. And that's how you see people that have, and this is what when you talk about it, the people who create it, the people who move that needle, who change the pace, who change the trajectory.
Right.
These are different cats, man.
All right, I got one question for you, and I have to ask this. Of all of the following movies, biographical films based on singers, which is your favorite? The Elton John movie. I don't know the real actor's name, but he played in the Kingsman movies.
Yeah.
But the guy that played Elton John.
He was also really good in Blackbird. That's him.
Yes, that's him.
Yeah.
The Elton John movie, Bohemian Rhapsody, Freddie Mercury, with the guy that plays him. Ray Charles, Jamie Foxx, Chadwick Boseman, James Brown, Elvis, or Tina Turner. What's love got to do with it?
Yeah, that's a tough choice. But is that my favorite or
favorite?
And that Ray, man, Ray is.
I'm telling you, that's my number one. But I'm gonna be honest, man. Elvis is my number two.
Probably number two. But man, it's hard with Tina Turner too, because that movie's a powerful movie.
It is,
but it's not about the music part. Is very secondary to that.
Yes, to me, the powerful points are the performances.
Yeah,
Lawrence Fishburne and fucking Angela. The music, as you said, and that's perfect. Secondary. When I heard the music, I wasn't, okay, I got it, I heard it. But it was the performances. With Ray, it's both.
Yeah.
When he's performing as Ray, nigga.
When he brings him to life, that thing when he says, "How do you get home? How do you know how to get home?" And he said, and then he
3 steps this way, 4 steps, hello.
That to me,
Yeah.
you know, those are moments where you go, when you like, that is that. I mean, I don't know. I never heard him speak like that, but that made sense to me.
Or Clifton Powell on the bus. How do you get around so good? How do you get around so good?
Yeah.
My ears are my eyes, man. I mean, dude, Jamie, that to me, nothing beats that.
No, but and it's because of Jamie that movie.
Oh, when he does all those songs, dude, the Johnny Girl, or the song where we first saw Regina King, and he signs him up. How y'all like to be the Raylettes? So that mean we got the red light. Oh, girl, what am I doing with you? Like that, the way he sung that when the Art Tatum dude, not the Art Tatum dude, but the dude that played Booger in the Nerds, that was his first manager. The Mess Around and the barbecues, the Mess Around. Every time Jamie performed, I just went, again, Ray, nigga.
And even though it was such character driven, it never felt over the top. Even when he said hello.
Right. Hello. That was Ray. It was Ray.
I don't know, but he did it. It just didn't seem over the top. So that's why.
Dude, the cutbacks when his brother died and his mother and him telling him, I'll help you once, but after that, you got to figure it out. He fell. He cried for his mama. She didn't help. Like, Ray is just, yeah, nothing beats that to me.
But I'm going to tell you, Tim, even now, because I'm putting this off to the side, but I really got to put it back in there. That Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Right.
Even though they timelined it a little weird, they didn't tell the story honestly at the end. They timelined it a little off. That movie was really well done as well.
Yeah. Dude, I would have to go Ray, Elvis. I feel like I'm not supposed to put something over James Brown. But Bohemian Rhapsody, James Brown, What's Love, Elton John.
Yeah, Elton John's the last one for me. As much as I'd like the James Brown, what would get
on up?
There's just something about the movie, not the movie wasn't as good as it could have been. I'm not trying.
I think that's a fair assessment.
The movie wasn't as good as it could be. The idea, the actors, everything was in place. Something in that movie just didn't make it as powerful as it could have been.
I agree.
Because the relationship with Mr. Burr, everything that they did to get that movie right, his demand for perfection,
right.
But there, you know what it is? I'll tell you, it's they didn't bring the humanity to James Brown the way that Ray's captured from Jamie. Right. They didn't bring it in the way that even in Bohemian Rhapsody, how the band, you see them all together, you see them working to try to make some of these songs, and you see and then that's what I think the humanity. This Elvis is all about the humanity of Elvis and the lack of humanity that went towards him. This is I think that's what's missing in the James Brown movie.
Right.
It's there, but it isn't. They don't capture it the right way.
Yeah. Like I feel like you felt the full weight of Ray.
Yeah.
You felt the full weight of Elvis. I don't know that I felt the full weight of James Brown.
No, when in Ray, when who's his wife?
Regina King or Kerry Washington.
Kerry Washington finds his kit, his drug kit. That part of the movie.
Yeah.
You felt the emotion. You felt you felt the details of
when that scene where she basically forced him to get clean. When she said, "There's something more than you love, more than this music, Ray, and it's the goddamn drugs." And like those scenes where Carrie was powerful. One of my favorite scene is the fucking hit the road Jack scene in the hotel when she said, I'm gonna have your baby. He said, "Don't worry about it. I can take care of getting an abortion." And she slaps him, and she goes, "You gonna have this baby, Ray?" And girl, you crazy. I ain't gonna leave my family. Between the dope and the music, you done already left your family. And then the way Regina King goes, It's just gonna be strictly business between you and me. And he starts doom, 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 doom. And she goes, hit the road, Jack. And he goes, yeah, right there, like that, right there. Like, that scene is so fucking powerful.
In Ray, when like he's eating the girl's pussy. Like
the girl's pussy.
Like that's what he to stay at the
well, he was fucking her. There was no indication he was eating pussy.
I thought that's what he was doing. That's what it seemed like. They made it that she made a comment like
about come get some more of this pie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They could have left it at that.
Right. If Ray couldn't see, she could have actually put a pie in his face.
Yeah, and he would have thought.
No, he would have tasted the sweets.
But the way that they kept going back to that scene,
Right.
and the way that you would see him in and out, and then he get frustrated where he goes, "I have to leave here."
Right.
They could have made a lot of people would have made that scene a lot shorter, a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
They detailed that out so that you felt a man's frustration about someone he had to fuck. There was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They took you there. They made you feel that.
Scratch a lie, find a thief. Ray, I've been meaning to talk to you about that. Well, why ain't you talking? Oh God, that movie is great.
So that's but to me that's what's missing from that. They showed his character in it, but they didn't give him the humanity he needed.
And I gotta say, I remember I posted this online. Great comedic, unintentional moment. But if you pay attention to the moment and the detail, it's absurd. Ray is frying chicken in a skillet. They show the chicken in the skillet frying, bubbling, the oil. When fucking the woman he's fucking that owns the house and fucking Terrence Howard comes in, Ray goes, who's, Lorenzo's playing Quincy Jones, Q, come get some of this chicken. This nigga puts the fork, grabs the drumstick out the skillet, and immediately bites a chunk out of that chicken and doesn't come, no, you're not burning?
Okay, yeah.
That shit was in the scene, it was just sizzling. Have you ever grabbed a piece of oil and put it in your mouth after bubbling and you biting this motherfucker like you eating an apple at room temperature? Get the fuck out of here. That's a great moment that they let slip.
Yeah. Yeah, you caught that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We just made Ray the better movie out of all the ones we did. Even though we did an hour and 15 minutes on Elvis, we just made Ray a better movie.
Ray's the shit, dude. Real quick, my last thing is this. This was a stat that they put up at the end of Elvis. They said that Elvis was the highest selling solo artist of all time. Over Michael Jackson.
That's what I thought. I wasn't. I
don't know if that's true.
Because I thought there was a time when they said Michael Jackson surpassed Elvis.
I need a fact check on that one. I don't think anybody outsold more than Michael.
Let me just ask you this question. On there's a lot of albums from Michael Jackson,
right?
But my two favorite are.
Let me guess. Off the Wall.
Off the Wall is my favorite.
Thriller.
Yeah.
Those
are my two favorites.
Those are the creme de la creme.
Which one do you like better, though, Off the Wall or Thriller?
Oh, boy. Damn. That's like choosing between the right titty or the left titty. Thriller is the bigger commercial album, which bangs. But Off the Wall felt like what you got was special.
That's where you get
do rock with you.
Yeah,
there's so many good hits from that.
That's my favorite.
Right.
I was just curious.
Yeah,
because I thought I was the only one that went there.
We need a fact check. Someone, please. I know y'all gonna send some emails about this. Episode. Who was the number one selling? No fucking way. No. Thriller outsold everybody.
He has more albums though.
Who? Elvis?
Yeah. I think he has more albums. The other thing that they didn't say in this movie too, though, just that before on his when he died, he had a top 40 hit.
Who? Elvis?
Yeah, called "Way Down."
A top 40 hit.
Yeah, he was done. His career was basically he was just the guy in Vegas doing these shows.
Right.
This fat guy, he had a hit song on the Hot 100. Maybe I thought it was top 40, but it might have just been the Hot 100. It was called "Way Down." And it didn't pick up after he died. It might have went up a few more places, but he had this.
How do you see the irony?
Way down.
Way down.
Yeah. That's right.
Right. All right. That's it. Go See this movie, man. It's a good fucking movie, man. And again, I went into it going, I'm gonna watch it. But I'm gonna watch it. Man, this is fucking good.
And really, it's not Elvis. It's not Elvis's story. It's Elvis's story through a dude who was fucking him. It really is what it was. So it's worth watching. It's a different idea.
Elvis, that's what it's called. You want to give us some dates?
Oh yeah. All right. So
Andy and I won't be on the road together next week, but we were gonna talk about it while we were in the same space. But we're gonna still talk about it just from separate locations. Blackbird. Yeah. And I know sometimes you guys want us to give you the heads up that way you could see it so we could talk about it. Somebody actually sent this to me as a review.
A couple people.
One person did, and Sergio Sosa said it to me. And then you told me. I'm 4 of 6 episodes in. Man, this is good, y'all. Blackbird on Apple TV.
Yeah, check it out. We're definitely going to be talking about it. Probably something else, but it's a really good series. Okay, so we're like you said, we're off next week, and then we're back on September 1st. We're at Cap City in Austin. That's September 1st through the 4th, followed by Addison, staying in the great state of Texas. We're going to be at Addison Improv. The
Julie Cash.
8th through the 11th, we'll be there. Then the 16th through the 19th, 16th through the 18th, we're going to be at Spokane Comedy Club there in Washington. Excited about that date. Haven't been there for a while. Raleigh Improv, the 22nd through the 25th, which is actually Cary, but it's called Raleigh Improv. And then ending the month, the 30th of September, will be at Levity Live, and I think we go through the 2nd of October there. Yes, to the 2nd of October. We'll be at Levity Live up there in New York.
New York. Oh, okay. Chevelle Glover. Instagram at VELLDAGENERAL 10, a number 10. Facebook, Vel DeGeneral, VELLDAGENERAL. Twitter, at Vel DeGeneral, VELLDAGENERAL. I think he sent me a few choices, music-wise. But however, I don't know the name of the song we're playing because he didn't single one out. He just said, let me know which song you want to play. I give very specific directions to people, and they just don't follow them. But anyway, this is Vel DeGeneral, folks. If you like his shit, let him know. I think that's it.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it was Austin Butler that was played Elvis because
1, 2, county and county J.
We said Tom Hanks a dozen times.
I'm getting so funny and old Delmar, let rock. Everybody let rock. I was dancing in the old Del Block. Was dancing to the jail. All right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. If you'd like to know who's responsible for this shit, it was hosted by Ari Spears and Andy Steinberg, produced by Steve Merrick and Anthony Holmes, executive producer, Big Papa, Robert Kelly, and Matt Kleinschmidt for the Laugh Button podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit SpearsburgPod.com.